think that's fair. One thing I want to shout out because I keep cutting parts of these videos and putting them on YouTube because we're getting a lot of YouTube subscribers. And the comment section is always like, why do you keep cutting the videos off? Where are the full episodes? The full episodes are on Patreon at patreon.com/BadlandsTOJ. So go subscribe. And we have daily full episodes there every day. I will make the edits a little cleaner. We're getting an intern on board. We're taking the YouTube a little more seriously, but I just wanted to shout that out because I always take a big chunk of War Room and plop it onto YouTube. And now we know that. All right, we got a little more of a nitty gritty question here, but I wanted to ask this one for a specific reason and because it's been driving me crazy all weekend. So this is from eHouse. Can you guys talk through round 3 wide receiver prospects and rank them? Johnny Wilson, McConkey, Corley, Burton, Roman Wilson, Rice, Polk, etc. You know more about all these guys than I do, so that you're going to answer the actual question. And why I'm referring to this is I feel like, and I tweeted this before the night game, what we saw from this weekend is that, one, having your fancy, great regular season defense does not mean anything if your quarterback cannot throw the football all over the yard. The Browns were completely destroyed by C.J. Stroud. The Dallas was completely destroyed by Jordan Love. And, man, we had some fun going back and forth with Packers fans, but who is getting the last laugh now in how that trade is played out right now? And I don't care. I don't care what he says. It is eating Aaron Rodgers alive what he is seeing happening with the Packers right now. It's
good.
like, if you just think about, I hope it is too. I mean, I hope he comes back and is like, could do what he did a few years ago and win the MVP. It has to be eating him up alive. But anyway, the second part of what I said is that you have to find pass catchers and playmakers on day 2 and day 3 of the NFL draft. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, he's hurt, but points.
Puka
Nacua, taken 8 picks before or after the great Zaire Barnes.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And we were joking in the group chat that even if the Jets took Puka, they'd be saying that he didn't know the route tree well enough in week 9. So
Dan was like, yeah, he wouldn't even play.
He'd be on the practice squad still. St. Brown, a day 2 receiver. Rasheen Rice on the Chiefs, day 2 receiver, was electric in that game for them.
Jaden Reed on the Packers.
Jaden Reed. Everyone the Packers.
Fantasy, you know all these names. Like
everyone the Packers are rolling through at receiver and at tight end are effectively all day 2, day 3 guys. Dobbs making plays all over the field. You're seeing it. You just see it everywhere. And the Jets, we went back through and we were talking about it, like mid-round receivers, not counting the second round, because as someone tweeted at me today, they got Denzel Sims wrong. And I said, you know what? It's fair enough you could call him Denzel Sims because that's how memorable his tenure was. Elijah Moore, we know. But the Jets did the double dip with Ardarius Stewart and Chad Hansen like a long time ago. Before that, they did the double dip with Jalen Saunders and Shaq Evans. Went 0 for 4 on all of those. Their inability to pick the right guy of all those guys that we just named, that is how you cheat. You can't say, oh, we can't fix our receiver room because we don't have enough money to sign Devontae Adams and Michael Pittman. Like, get one, but then draft someone in the 3rd or 4th round who could be a star like these guys are. Like, that is what is the difference between these teams. Look at how quick the Rams reloaded with Puka, with Kieran Williams, with all the guys on defense that they found on like day 2 and day 3 with no picks, which they gave up to go win a Super Bowl. I'm ranting here. The point is, find pass catchers who make a difference on day 2 and day 3. They have to do this. How do you feel about this collection? Jets don't have a 2nd round pick. They have a 3rd round pick. They very well may get more picks when we get into all the Bryce Huff stuff and other moves that they could make. How do you feel about that crop, and where does it make sense for the Jets?
Well, this is a really good wide receiver class. So I've ranked 15, and I know he asked about Jermaine Burton in there. Burton is a guy that I didn't do through I actually evaluated for summer scouting 2 years ago because I thought he would declare last year, and he didn't. So I will get to him in my final wide receiver rankings. But my top 15 I did for NFL Stock Exchange was, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Troy Franklin, Devontae Walker. I think all those guys are probably going in the 1st round. Then Emeka Ibuka, he just went back to school. Now you get into day 2. Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk, Xavier Legette, A.D. Mitchell. And then he brought up around 3 like Lad McConkey. I think McConkey might even go in the 2nd round. He's got such good hands. He's a good athlete. Somebody I do like that he brought up, Malachi Corley. He's just so good after the catch. It feels like the Jets need a guy that can create after the catch with the ball in his hands, a tough guy, good contact balance. Jamari Thrash from Louisville would be that day 3 guy that I like because he's explosive and he can win over the top with speed. And I feel like with Rodgers' vertical passing, that's something the Jets can unlock a little bit. So Thrash would be a guy for me on day 3 that I like, that I've gotten through so far. I think he might have even snuck into my top 75, but I don't think he goes in the top 75. And then, when we get post-combine, I'll rank. Let me look what I did last year. How many wide receivers? I mean, yeah, I had a ton. I mean, I think 38 or something I had ranked. So the point is, it's a deep group. This year is really, really good. It's got blue chip talent. It means that good players are going to fall. And the Jets are in a spot where there's a thing with the Jets, though. I keep thinking back to this as I fall in love with this wide receiver class. I'm not sure they're in on this wide receiver class because, one, they don't have a ton of draft assets. And two, I don't think that's what Rodgers is necessarily looking for, is to bring in a ton of young guys to handle serious target share. I feel like they probably think they can get a good player on the pro market, and they probably including him, want to go get that player on the pro market. I don't think they want learning curve at wide receiver. Now the argument is do both, and I agree. Go get a veteran. And God, there's going to be a lot of names out there. I know the fan base has gotten, and this is the Jets' fault for leaking that story, that they tried calling the Raiders at the deadline. No one answered the phone. Like, when they do that stuff, they don't realize they literally pull out a gun and shoot themselves in the foot. And then they try to go run outside. Like, I don't understand why they leak things like that. But anyway, because if nobody picked up the phone for the Raiders, who's leaking the story? Right?
They leaked
it's not the Raiders.
They leaked it to change the conversation after the Jets were starting to lose a ton of games. So people like you and I would talk about that versus them having the worst offense in NFL history.
Yes, 100%. The Roger Saffold signing for the practice squad. They tried something for the offensive line. We don't even know if he ever showed up in practice.
He never showed up. Never entered the state of New Jersey.
I don't know if he was ever actually at practice.
No one could prove it.
I'll actually ask somebody. So, in all seriousness, there are a lot of receivers that'll be available. Like Cortland Sutton had an Instagram post that was basically a goodbye to Denver.
Yep.
I would take Cortland Sutton here in a heartbeat. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of different veterans that they could look to go after. And then why I say you could do both, then go use one of your day 3 picks on a wide receiver, like you said, Joe, and actually hit on the pick. And I'll give you the name of Jamari Thrash right now as a placeholder. There'll be a lot more names because, man, the more you go through the Jets offseason and how screwed up their offensive line is, I mean, we've written in ink the 10th overall picks at tackle.
Yes.
But when you go to the 3rd round, like I constantly find myself saying, this is a line pick too. This is probably an interior guy. And I've gone through this on here. The good thing is if the best player available is a center, you take the center and Tippmann plays guard. If the best player available is a guard, Tippmann plays center and you have the guard. But at the end of the day, the 3rd round, I constantly come back to taking an interior offensive lineman. So I don't know if they have the luxury to take a wide receiver with the top 100 picks, which means puts more pressure on them to nail it in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round.
We need Brownlee or Gibson or both to make like a real leap, because they're gonna. I already know this is gonna happen. They're gonna make one meaningful veteran addition. If it's not Devontae, maybe it's Sutton, maybe it's Ridley. It'll be someone. They'll get someone real to start opposite of Garrett Wilson. Yeah. They will absolutely sell Lazard as the 3 and Gibson as the 4.
Totally forgot he exists.
It's 100% going to happen. They're going to say he's back with Rodgers. Rodgers will be out in the circuit. I got confidence in Allen. He looks great. He lost 14 pounds. He's not playing soccer anymore. That's what's happening. That's going to be the pitch. One more quick one, because this ties so well, then we're going to jump to the pod. This is another nitty-gritty draft one, and we're going to start peppering these. And I know you're on draft season this week, too, so I don't want to dump them all out here. But this is from Scotty, and Scotty's such a great fan. We got to always answer questions when he asks them. Regarding the O-line, would the Jets be better off picking up someone like Lloyd Cushenberry to play center in free agency and move Tippmann to guard?
Yeah.
You have AVT to play left tackle. You need a right tackle, but you have the ability to either go stud O-line in the 1st round if one falls, or an offensive skill guy at 10 and still come back and get your right tackle in the 3rd, or double up with OL in the 4th. Thoughts? Could that be an approach, basically? And I think we got a couple interesting questions through on, like, you see some of the linemen who are starting for, like, the Rams and the Chiefs and the Lions. And like some of these guys will be out there, but they're more on the interior. So what do you think of that kind of approach?
I like it. I would say don't rule out anything for how hard they go after this offensive line class. And when you look at it, Robert Hunt from Miami is a good guard. I think that, you do have to go out and get your interior, it's weird because you paid Lakin so much money, and it's not great practice to go pay another interior player, especially the way they did Lakin's contract. They totally blew that. But it's spilled milk. It doesn't matter. I would say, yeah, you have to go pretty hard after an interior player in free agency. It goes back to the whole Tippmann draft argument, whether that's a guard, whether that's a center. Cushenberry's a really good name to bring up. He's been good. And then you're trying to eliminate variables going into the draft, right? So say you got, well, use Cushenberry because that's an easy example. So then say they can't get out of Lakin's money. I feel like I pull up this contract on Over the Cap 7 times per week. I'm gonna be saying it in my sleep. All right, so if Lakin was a post June 1 cut, you know what? They might cut him. Post June 1 cut, they saved $13 million. He has to get cut. I don't know why it took me this long to get here.
You could never say anything definitively with the Jets. Logically, yes, they should. Logically, the Jets. Guess we have more money to do. Yeah,
but right, it doesn't matter. The dead money exists no matter what. So
exactly.
He'd be a 5.9-ish hit this year that you're paying him not to play for you, and then 1.6 because of the awful restructures this team does with void years. He's going to cost you 1.6 for the 3 years after that. Every year, 1.6. He's like the Bobby Bonilla.
The Bonilla contract. Yeah, terrible interior offensive lineman.
The Jets will be paying a 35-year-old Lakin Tomlinson in 2027. Anyways, the point is, I don't know why it took me this long to get there. They have to make him a post-June 1 cut. That's $13 million. If that $13 million pays for, I don't know, Lloyd Cushenberry or Robert Hunt and a backup interior lineman as well, done. Worth it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a way you can go. I think you could write in they're going to take a tackle at 10. Every time I do this exercise, AVT has to play tackle. I don't know how, where are you getting 2 tackles? And I don't want to hear Bakhtiari mentioned. He can't play on this turf, and I don't blame him. So, yeah, I'm just going in with the mindset that AVT's a tackle and the 10th overall pick's a tackle and then figure out the rest.
I mean,